Hi, here we are again to talk about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And in the last couple of videos, I was talking about responsive web design. And what I'd like to do now is take a little bit of a detour and talk about Font Awesome. Okay, so Font Awesome is a couple things. First, it's a font that has a bunch of icons in it. So imagine a font with all these little pictures in there. Okay, so the font is a set of characters, right, that you can display as text. But in this case, instead of the letters, A, B, C, D, and the numbers and punctuation, all of the characters are little pictures. Okay, and so what's great about this is, when you're using a font, you can set the size of the font, the color of the font, a lot of other features. The fonts are very flexible, like they can scale easily and be resized. And these icons have that same quality. If you made the pictures out of bitmaps, if you wanted to change the size, it'd be much more difficult. And then it's also hard to manage like a group of files where now you've just got one font that you can import and you get all the characters with it, right? Font Awesome is also a CSS file that has a bunch of helper CSS classes that let you access the fonts in, or the characters in Font Awesome. Okay. So what does it look like? Well, if we look down here, you can see these are some of the characters, right? So here's a flag and a microphone and a game controller and a computer screen and a pencil, right? And there's a whole bunch of characters in here. Okay, so let's see. Let's go in here. Let's go look at examples. So I'm going to click on examples here, and it's going to take me to a page with some code. Actually, this isn't the one I want. I want the one that is. Actually, you know where it is? It's over here. I'm going to go back to the home page and type in. Actually, this isn't what I want either. Let me find it. Where's that one that I want? Oh, I want the one icons. I should have thought of that, right? So icons. I'm going to click on icons. That's it, right? And in here, you can see these are all of the fonts. It's saying like here's 20 new fonts. Here's web application icons. And you could scroll through these. They go for days, right? If you want to search this, you can type into the search box here. So for example, if you're looking for a calendar icon, you can type in calendar, right? And then it'll start showing you all of the font characters for the calendar, right? What if you want a marker, right? So I'll type in marker, and you can say find a map marker here. Oh, there's a Mars icon, right? Thumbtack, right? What if you want a map? Let's see if they have a map. Oh, look, they have a map pin, street view icon, a map icon. So you can see you can search for characters, right? So so now how do you use this, right? Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to import the Font Awesome style sheet. And you can download that by going to somewhere up here. I think it's under Get Started, right? Or maybe it was on the home page, actually. Like you can download the whole thing right here with the download button, right? The other thing you can do is, since it's a style sheet and it links to it can link to the font files through the style sheet, you can actually link to their style sheet remotely, what they say a CDN, Content Delivery Network. So we can just link to the file on their server, right? And I like to do that because that way you get the most updated file. So to do that, I'm going to go to the examples button here, and I'm going to look at the examples here, and it says basic icons and larger icons, right? And this kind of shows you a sample. And actually, wait, this isn't the one I want either. I'm sorry. I want to go to Getting Started. Okay, sorry, I did that twice now. I keep mixing up these names here, right? So I'm going to go to Getting Started. And if I look down here, you can see it says the easiest way is to use the Bootstrap CDN. Okay, so the CDN is the Content Delivery Network. So this is like we're going to link to the files that we need over the internet. We don't actually have to host the files ourselves, right? Well, there's a couple advantages to using the CDN, right? One, we get the latest and most updated version, right? If they make changes to it, we don't have to download their changes and replace our files. And two, if we go to a website that also uses the same files at the same CDN, then the files will be cached and we won't have to download them again. okay? So there's two advantages to this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this one right here, the easiest method, and then it says paste the following code in the head of your HTML document. So what we want to do is we want to get this, and if you look at this carefully, you'll see that it's just a link tag. And I talked about this in my other video, is linking to a CSS file with the link tag, and this is essentially just a link to a style sheet file, right? It says rel style sheet. So I'll copy this, and then I'm going to switch back to my document, and I'll go to my HTML document here, and you can see that this is a link to the style sheet that I'm using for the for this document. This is my custom styles, and what I think I'll do is I'll paste the Font Awesome style sheet above it. Okay, so this style sheet is linking to Mac CDN Bootstrap, and the address goes on for a ways, but this essentially is the Font Awesome CSS file. Okay, so there we go. That's all we need. Okay. And then, so how do we use it, right? Well, let's imagine we wanted to add a font to this page. And I'm going to do a little more with this later, but for right now, what I'll do is I'll just put maybe a paragraph here at the top, right? And I want to put one of those little characters inside this paragraph, okay? And we'll do a little more with this later, but just to get started and show you the basics, we'll do it this way for now, okay? So I'm going to go back to the Font Awesome site, and I'm going to go to the examples section. And looking at examples here, you can see it says, basic icons, right? So if you want to show the camera icon right here, we can just copy the code, right? Now I'm just going to copy this just to get started, right? So, and if you look carefully, it's just an I tag with a class name. Okay, so the icon is really just this tag right here. Okay, so I'm going to copy the whole thing right here like this, and then I'll paste it into my paragraph. Okay, we could put this anywhere on our page. Okay, in my case, I just put it in the paragraph here, right? Okay, so there we go. So now we'll save that, and then I'll go back to my website here in Safari. This is the page that we were viewing, and I'll refresh it, and then you can see that there's my camera right there, right? So there it shows me the camera icon, and then it just has the text next to it, okay? So the text is showing up because I included the text here. Like I might say, like, camera, right? I could put that, and then over here now it would say, camera, okay? So what else can you do with this? Well, this is the class name that generates the icon. Okay, so if you want to show a different icon, for example, I really want to have the calendar here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a different class name for the calendar. Okay, so I just need a different class name. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the Font Awesome site. We'll go to the icons page, and then we'll search up the calendar. Okay. So I'll start typing calendar in here, and then you can see these are all the different calendars that we get. I think I like this one right here with the grid. So if I click on that, it will show me the code that I need. And essentially, it's the same thing. It's an I tag with FA space FA calendar. Okay, so really the only thing that's changing here is the name calendar. So I'll just copy that. You could copy the whole thing if you want. And what I'll do is I'll go back to my site here, and I'll change this to FA calendar. Okay, so we'll save it, and then we'll go back to our page here and refresh, and now I've got the calendar icon. Easy. Okay, so there you go. There's a couple other features here that work with this. Essentially, you can set the size of the icons, right? So you can see that there's different sizes here. And there's an example of that on the examples page. And you'll see it shows you here like these 4 or 5 cameras right there. You can see if you look carefully, it's got the same code here that we just used, class name with the name of the icon. And then it's followed by another class that's FA large, 2x, 3x, 4x, and 5x. Okay? So, for example, if I want to create the larger icon, right? I'll choose this one right here, and then I could say like, okay, well, the calendar right here, it should be the FA large or LG, right? So I'll save that, and then can refresh it there, and then I get the slightly larger calendar, right? And you noticed on there that there was also, you know, the 2x, 3x, 4x, and 5x. So if I want a really big calendar icon, I could do, you know, what's that? Yeah, 2x, right? So we'll do this. We'll do, how about we'll do 3x, right? So I'll save that, and then go back to my page here and refresh it, and there's the larger one, right? And so now that's just like an introduction to this, right? Because there's a lot you can do with this, you know, and you know, it's kind of really up to your creativity. But just remember that the character here is a font. Okay, so it's a font, so that means you can do all the things that you can do with a font, right? So you can set the text shadow, you can set the color. Okay, so so really this could be any color, and it can have a shadow and other features, right? So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope that's helpful, and I'll do more with this in the next video. Okay.